You're listening to Pop This, the podcast where two women talk about everything pop culture. Here are your hosts, Lisa Christiansen and Andrea Warner.
So I have this bad arm problem.
Yeah.
That I've been slightly whining about. Have I been whining too much about it?
No, not whining at all.
No?
No.
Really?
I mean, I've heard about the bad arm.
Yeah.
But I haven't heard about, it's not
Because I have to go to physiotherapy and get needles.
Sounds awful.
To try and relax these muscles.
Yeah.
And sleep is not easy.
Ugh.
And I sometimes feel like saying something to people because it's like a painful sort of all the time. But at the same time, I feel like it's boring. So boring to talk about ailments that aren't really important.
Well, I mean, it is important that you're in pain. And
well,
that,
I mean, if you said to me, let's play some badminton, I think it would be fair to bring up, although it's my left arm and I probably could still play badminton, and I love badminton. Anyway,
but
I wouldn't.
Honestly, anything that's constant pain all the time it's very disruptive to one's sort of regular life when they do not live with pain. And when it prevents you from sleeping, it drastically changes the quality of your life. It's awful.
It does. And I know there are some people that have had all of pain throughout their whole life really bad things. But in context with the film we're about to discuss, I think part of my reason for not wanting to bring it up is someone would be thinking that's an old person thing.
You're old.
You've got
now.
an ailment, and you feel like you know how have you ever been grocery shopping and you'll see one of those cute people, like a Tavi Gevinson. You remember her from Rookie?
Sure, yeah.
And if she was pulling one of those carts, those little metal shopping, the one you take home, not the one in there, you'd be, that's so cute, right? But any other age.
Hipster cute.
Hipster cute. But any other age, everyone's like, oh my gosh.
Hi, Grandma.
Yeah. Knee-high, stockings or something.
Compression socks, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So cute on a hipster, right?
On a 20-year-old?
No one else. I guess the trick is once it becomes a necessity, not a choice.
Well, and honestly, that I'm not even saying this to argue, for the sake of arguing at all, but I do often look at people who are whatever age when they have those wheelie carts for their groceries. I am jealous.
Well,
those are great, and they are so smart, and they're so responsible. And
it's a cultural thing too, because I know my friend who lives in Spain. She lives in Madrid.
Yeah.
Because they don't have a lot of cars there.
Yeah,
it's just not. You don't do a big Costco shop or something.
Subway all the time.
She said everyone has one of those. We have one of those. And as soon as she said she had one, I was like, "Are you embarrassed?" No, every person, no matter it's just a practical thing you would have.
Do you ever think in these moments that you are your own worst enemy? In having ideas that something is embarrassing or shame based for a certain age.
Oh yes,
I think about this all the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm just always okay, if I just decide that it's not a thing, then that's fine. It's not
true,
a thing.
And I don't actually stop at the supermarket if I see someone with one of those things and just
point at them and laugh.
No, I never have. No, and you're right to say that. It's true because I think there's obviously a line between saying, oh, my arm's really hurting, and then getting to a point where it's all I talk about. And I don't think I do that.
No, not at all.
And I do think there are people that have decided that the only thing that makes them interesting are their health concerns. Mm-hmm. That's a problem, I think.
That's just it's not the most fun thing. I always think, you know what, we're always more than one thing.
Right.
Yes, if you have 15 health ailments. Yeah. That it maybe unfairly gets lumped as one thing at some point. That's fine. Yeah. Make it 3 of your 5 things. Yeah. Just if you have the opportunity to also have a slight interest in stained glass. Yeah. Add that to the repertoire of topics.
Right? Yeah. So it's not let's just talk about my diverticulitis.
I'm here for you. So if you want to just talk about...
You are much kinder about this. We've had these conversations and about those issues, and you are much more sympathetic than I am to people's health concerns.
But I also have a lot of...
Not that I'm not with cancer. If someone said they have cancer, I'm not going to be...
Fine. Cancer, you're allowed to complain.
Keep that to yourself.
No, I think there's always a time limit, though, for me. Because I don't have... because I'm not hanging out with people for hours at a time. I like typically, you have mocked / marveled at how highly scheduled I am.
Yes,
right?
Yes.
And so typically the maximum amount of time that I might spend with someone who is not my grandma is about 2 hours.
Right.
And if you only have 2 hours that you're spending with someone where you're like catching up on stuff, typically your like one thing is not going to be like just talking about your diverticulitis for those 2 hours, right?
Yeah.
People want to like get the most out of you or whatever.
Hopefully.
They want to get your feedback about things sometimes. If I'm in a situation with a friend where they literally just talk at me for 2 hours, we're not going to hang out for a little bit longer.
Right. You probably would kibosh that right there.
I'll just be like, you know what? I've got half an hour for you next time.
Yeah.
You know, like it's just one of those things.
Call me when the gout's gone. No, I don't. Gout never goes. Actually.
I want to hear about that gout forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just tell me a little bit more about
15 minutes each time we see each other. I want to hear about that gout. But then we move on to your plantar fasciitis.
That's a flesh-eating disease, is it?
No.
What's just that one?
That's just where you have inflammation of the Am I
going to throw up?
No, it's just in the bottom of your foot. It's an inflammation.
Oh, like a wart.
No, not even a wart. It's it's an inflammation literally of the fascia at the bottom of your foot, which is where the plantar comes in. So it's basically like it's really painful to walk on your foot.
Oh, but you couldn't walk, right?
You could, but so say you had gout in one foot and then plantar fasciitis in the other.
Oh,
that would be a complicated scenario.
Oh boy,
which is
yeah, no. Oh boy. Yeah, I mean, I could dedicate 10 minutes to that to someone.
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
For sure, yeah.
To tell me some of like, oh, it's been hard getting around.
Of course, yeah.
I got this shopping cart and I can't quite
move
it about.
That's pretty reasonable. Yeah.
It is.
But 2 hours is a lot.
But I know that in the limited time we see each other, if I bring up my arm too much, would you tell me?
But what would be too much?
For you.
If you forgot that you had told me 3 times already about your arm.
Have I?
No.
Oh.
You've only told me twice.
Okay.
But that makes sense because we talked about it and then we're talking about it right now.
Yeah, okay.
But like, say, for example, if like, you know, on our drive home, when I'm driving you home, if you were like, hey, have I told you about my arm? I'd be like, yeah, we talked about your arm.
You might start thinking of having some memory problems.
Well, then I would be concerned on a different level.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would flag that for like whomever I had to.
I think it's starting to get better, though.
Oh, good. Yay!
Yeah. So if you see me doing weird arm exercises, though.
No, I love it. It's great. I honestly just thought you were constantly signaling to Andrea Gin, like, can we wrap this up? And she's like, no, you have to keep talking.
I thought I was doing sort of a one-arm Pete Townsend here, just sort of a...
It's beautiful.
A swoop thing here. I don't even know if I'm supposed to be doing this, but it sort of feels good. And yet again, not really a good segue, except for my fear of... aging ailments.
There's a lot of aging ailments in this movie. So actually, I think it's a great segue. You did a great job.
There we go.
Yeah.
I think for a certain women, and I'm going to assume that a lot of you listen to this podcast, even just knowing Wine Country was coming to Netflix because they really seem to give us a lot of leadway, like waiting, right?
I really like a nice slow build up.
Yeah.
Like I'm glad that I knew this was coming. I'm glad it dropped the weekend of like Mother's Day.
Yeah.
I think it's a smart strategy, even if it's a super gendered strategy. I think if I had watched this with like my mom, that would have been great. She was out of town, but it was such a nice time.
It sure was. And you are listening to Pop This. I'm Lisa Christiansen.
I'm Andrea Warner.
And I have to say I'm very excited that we are discussing Wine Country.
I can't wait. I feel like I've been waiting for this movie since, I don't know, like 1992.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely. Ever since we found out that Saturday Night Live actors could leave the show and do something else interesting, and the women just didn't.
Well, some women got to, but they never got a chance to just like hang out with all their gal pals and make a movie in a location where they wanted to go on vacation, like Adam Sandler, who has been doing this for so long. The fact that Honestly, the fact that we are...
He has like a 500 picture deal with Netflix or something?
Something like that. But the fact that we are just now getting our first, female buddy comedy post-SNL movie makes me so mad.
And the Adam Sandler comparison is fair because he is quite close to Chris Rock and to David Spade and
all his buddies
James...
are in his movie. That guy, James is like the outstanding. Kevin James. He's the outlier. He was not on SNL.
But he's their buddy.
Yeah. But Adam Sandler is constantly making movies.
Best Bud's 9. I'm still your friend 4.
Exactly. Can
we keep making this happen? 5.
We just want to go on vacation and hang out, and then we're gonna film it, and like Rob Schneider's gonna do something weird.
Yeah,
we'll keep Chris Kattan and I just and look, I say that as someone who actually really enjoyed Happy Gilmore when I was a kid.
Well, Wedding Singer, I still love for an episode.
I still love Wedding Singer, absolutely. Yeah. But the opportunities that are given to the men that leave SNL versus the women that leave SNL are frustrating.
Yet again, if this is what Netflix brings us, bring Netflix on and quit complaining about it. Anyone ever stop it. Because I remember that quick little video we had of just them drinking. Do you remember when that came out? Uh-huh. Just like a little Instagram movie.
Yeah.
And you're like, what are they doing?
Yeah.
What's going on?
So fun.
Is this them just like hanging out?
Yeah.
Well, turns out, if you are jealous of this show, they are actually friends who go on these wine trips.
Well, and this literally was inspired by an actual wine trip that they took to Napa for Rachel Dratch's 50th birthday.
Yeah.
So this is a real pulled from the headlines kind of thing. And Paula Pell did... Oh, yeah, and there's going to be spoilers, so if you haven't seen it, go just watch it now.
Yeah.
Paula Pell did actually buy $800 worth of dildos at the Hustler store and hand them out to everyone in a restaurant for Merry Vagmas. Dream gift, by the way, guys.
Also had a little comedy slogan for each one of them, which was like, just to have a friend that would think of your personality and how a dildo could fit that.
Yes.
I felt like that's a person who really knows you.
That is a person who knows you so well. It's so special. Yeah. It's lovely.
My only other thought after that scene was that's got to be weird when they all got back to the house.
I mean...
Was there a hush that just fell?
Yeah, just a quiet hush. No, that's the night that they all got drunk, danced, and went into the hot tub and had their like different moments. So the hush would have come like later.
Much later. Yeah. Maybe a morning hush.
Maybe a morning hush. Oh my God, is hush our new euphemism for masturbation? Oh
my gosh, there's a Carpenter song.
Well,
there's a kind of hush all over the world tonight.
I can't wait for this to... we should do Pop This Karaoke and we'll just...
See, this is what this movie inspires. Joy.
Silliness.
Yeah,
no, I love it. Anyway, Wine Country, 2019 American comedy film produced and directed by Amy Poehler in her feature directorial debut.
Yeah, and the film was written by Emily Spivey and Liz Kakowski with a story by Amy, Emily, and Liz. And I don't even know where to begin with this cast.
The cast is great. I think it's Emily Spivey, but like, whatever. Okay, it doesn't matter. No, who cares? It's fine. But like Rachel Dratch, Anna Gasteyer, Amy Poehler, Maya Rudolph, Paula Pell, your favorite, Emily Spivey.
She cracked me right up a million times.
I know, so good. And then like supporting cast is Cherry Jones, Maya Erskine, Jason Schwartzman, Tina Fey, and Liz Kakowski. What a dream team.
Now, right away, let's just say, because get the elephant out of the room.
Yeah.
There are problems with this movie.
Oh, yeah. And I really, you know what, actually, we should even just start at the end of where I put this, because there is a review, a paragraph from a review that I think gets at what it means to both of us.
Yes, I read this one and I agree. Continue.
Yeah. Christy Lemire for Ebert.com, quote, "I love the fact that this movie exists and that it's a celebration of enduring friendships through ups and downs and across decades without jealousy or competition. I love that it shines a light not only on comedy goddesses, but also on female characters as they navigate the realities of reaching middle age. And there are indeed moments of inspired lunacy and daring raunchy humor. But because the talent amassed here is so impressive, I wish the film had been more focused."
Yeah.
I 100% agree.
100%.
This is not a great movie.
No, it is not.
But I love it.
But like so many other movies that aren't perfect, there was enough goodness.
Oh yeah.
To sail you. I'm gonna watch this again.
Me too. No, absolutely, me too.
I will be watching this, and then Netflix can see that I watched it twice. And then maybe we'll just find out that they've been told they have to do this movie every year, but just go to a different location. Like, Steve Coogan and Rob Brydon's The Trip.
Yep.
So we'll send them, like, to New Orleans well, we've done that Girls Trip. But we'll send them where there's some other annual, like, fest of some sort.
Do you want to, did you watch Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt?
Some of it, yeah.
I watched some of it, too. It's also, I think... It's got really great inspired moments and moments that are completely just, what the heck is this?
Yeah.
And I have often thought that about Tina Fey. Like, I think Tina Fey is one of those bright, brilliant women who is also a bit problematic.
Yeah.
And I felt like...
However, I feel like 30 Rock is perfect.
30 Rock is really... It's great.
Yeah, okay. I know you'll...
But there are elements of it that
there are going to be, but in terms of a show, I think that it should be up there.
But it's not it's not a show that I return to.
Oh.
Whereas I return to Parks and Rec all the time.
Oh, I return to 30 Rock a lot.
All the time. Okay, cool. I mean, I think that actually sort of like supports like our slight differences as humans, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it does.
And so the element of one of the elements of this movie that I find so frustrating is and I guess we're really jumping around all over the place here, but whatever, is
like the movie.
Yeah. is the like sort of contempt that they have for millennials.
Yeah,
and this feels like a real Tina Fey thing to me.
Okay, and I was really, but she wasn't one of the writers.
No, I know, but I just felt like it was just like...
Yeah, I think we're in particular talking about a scene, so let's just give a bit of context.
Yes.
Someone is not going to want to watch it, but wants to know what we're talking about. So Paula, and one of their group dinners, has a crush on the waitress. Her name is Jade, played by Maya Erskine, and... she finds out that Jade is having an art, what do you call it? An art opening.
Yeah, an art exhibit.
Art exhibit, and they're all going to go to it.
Yeah.
And so they all go. And
this is just after they've had a fight, and all of them have had an argument.
Yeah, because they can't decide what to do. They were going to do one thing, and then
yeah, and like Amy Poehler's character has been like real type A and has had this itinerary for everybody. She also just got fired from her job because she didn't know how to use Snapchat.
Yeah.
This is important context for like the millennial hatred.
It is.
Anyway.
So then they get to this gallery, which again, so we're in Napa, so it's this big sort of California warehouse looking thing. And Jade's show is dedicated to Fran Drescher.
And the nanny.
And some kind of like hipster take on what the nanny represented. So her and different, like the Queen and different Frida Kahlo.
It's a pop culture, like...
You've seen this before.
You've seen it before. I honestly would have loved to go to that show. The nanny, like exploring social issues through pop culture is kind of my jam.
Yeah.
It's kind of what we do on the podcast a lot.
Yeah.
I thought it was... I mean, I know that it was sort of played for like laughs because it was people taking themselves really seriously. And there was an element of that was kind of like exhausting. But it was also incredibly like smart and funny.
It was. However, it didn't make any sense because the scene where they meet and they see Brene Brown in the restaurant and Jade hasn't heard of her.
Yeah.
And then they're going back and forth on people they like and singers and you get this idea that Jade is like they really sold her short.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand that.
Although I will say I had never heard of Brene Brown until last year.
Oh.
Well, ever. I did not know who this one was. I didn't know she was a huge deal.
Well, just because you don't watch TED Talks.
Well, that's the thing.
Or Soul Sundays with Oprah.
Yeah, see, I've never watched any of those things.
Do you want to know who has tickets to see Oprah in June?
You? Yeah, you do. I mean, like, but yeah,
it's coming back to me, Andrea.
No, it's great. That's great. I'm excited for you. But that was my moment with Jade. I was like, oh yeah, like I'm not as young as Jade, but like I have no idea who.
Yeah, but that's. I mean, I thought that was very clever because it is niche, and it's niche enough. It's niche enough, not only her, but also it really spoke to that because she is always, she's got that audience of middle-aged women that are just still trying to find their power.
Exactly.
And your power is your vulnerability. Anyway, she's also, funnily enough, also just put a Netflix special up too.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like an extended TED Talk. So anyway, I thought that was very funny. And I wasn't expecting Jade to necessarily know who Brene Brown was.
Yeah.
At all.
But like we get to the art show and like Amy Poehler's character loses it on her and a couple of other people.
But so she knows who Fran Drescher is.
Yes.
But then there are other references and she's like, Future was in here. I've heard of Future. I mean, I know we're people, music writers. And so that probably skews things a little bit.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was just unfair to her and our ladies.
Well, I think we're meant to like. I feel like it's so weird because this like that kind of trying to imply this great gulf between them in terms of like 30 versus 50. It doesn't have to be that.
But it isn't in real life for any of those people, too. And that's what, I mean, we know that Amy Poehler was Broad City. Now, I know she's done some really interesting interviews where she talked about the difference between their generations in the sense of how she would have played a scene. But still, it's not that big a deal.
No, I feel like they exaggerated it and they sold all their characters short.
Yes.
In this exaggeration.
Yes.
Like they can't use technology properly. They can't figure out how to like put a pod in a coffee thing. And again, these are all very basic, tired comedy
and
elements
I was wondering
that aren't that good.
And I couldn't help but wonder where it came from. And I thought, did it come from, like, these are women in Hollywood. So obviously they've experienced issues of, you're too old for this.
Yes.
I mean, can I just tell you, we saw Watch What Happens Live, where Charlize Theron was told that she was offered the part to play Brie Larson's mom in Captain Marvel.
Oh, wow. All right. Wow.
No, Wonder Woman's mom.
Oh, Wonder Woman's mom. Oh. Wow. All right. Yep. Okay.
So
sure.
I recognize that, and that would have happened, 2 years ago, so she'd have been 40.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay.
So
cool.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm not there. I mean, we've all experienced our own issues with being female and, and all those other things. So I don't know if that was a feeling that they've had, or was it some, a bone chuck to the middle-aged women watching the show?
Yeah, I don't, like, it felt to me like that's a gulf that like maybe 65 and 30 would explain that.
Again, you wouldn't look at Patti Smith and do that to her, and she's 70?
No, I know. No, but again, these are like specific, like in terms of thinking of like what your audience might be. Like, it also doesn't need to be there. The one thing that I thought was super great about that scene, though, is that Paula's character Val, because one of them is like, oh, you're also I can't with the confidence of these people is what Amy Poehler's character says.
Yes.
And Val is like, so now we're supposed to come down on them for being too confident? Like, and I thought she made a really
I did
wonderful
too, but also
point.
she's still trying to hit on Jade.
Well, I mean, great. Okay. Get hers. Like, she's a grown up and she's an adult, and that's fine.
But yes, I agree with that.
But like, it was nice to hear a character stand up for, like, one of the great things that I do love so much about the so-called millennials and their confidence is that, like that we need to, like, I am still learning confidence from younger generations because of how screwed up and how, like, awful it has been to unlearn internalized misogyny and sexism and divest from the patriarchy.
The Billie Eilish, what is she, 17, 18 years
17.
old? She said she'll only wear bulky clothes so nobody gets to comment on her body.
I mean,
there's a bit of sadness to that.
There's total sadness,
but there's also a recognition that you guys aren't doing that to me.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna hold one thing to myself, and you know what that is? You don't know what's under here.
Yep.
Right at all. And I thought, boy, at 17 or 18 to have to make that call.
Ugh, it's awful.
It is, but it's super interesting too.
Yeah.
It's something that that she has like, this is my body and I'm going to be the one that tells people, you know, what I want to say about it. And you know, that could change too.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
But being able to be the one that
controls
it and doesn't have a manager going, look, we could, you know, we just need you to be in like whatever outfit. Again, not to judge anyone who does that sort of thing at all, but you know, at least this is her and what she wants to do.
Her deciding what she wants to do.
Her deciding what she wants to do. So yeah, I felt like that scene was so
they
disappointing.
And they have a lot of those moments. But I do feel like keeping Val's criticism of it in there and the fact that, and I think the reason that scene doesn't work that well is because we don't spend enough time understanding why Abby got fired. We don't, like, we barely understand, like, that it's because she didn't know how to snap. We don't understand that she got fired because she's too old for this job, apparently, quote unquote. Like,
yeah, we don't know what she did.
We don't know. We don't have a clue. And it's like, it's sort of only vaguely referred to sort of near the end.
Yeah.
And I think, like, this is a movie that gives me a lot of, I mean, it's hard, I think, when, like, you're someone making your first film after being an actor and a writer for so long. Yeah. Like, you're the one directing, and there's a lot of expectation that you're going to hit it out of the park and you're going to do it well. I mean, there is a serious disconnect between the, like, direction, the editing, and the cinematography. Yeah. Like, there's something so piecemeal and a little sloppy about.
And there's something very wooden about the way all of them are always kind of standing together. But the gem, like we were saying, the other parts that we really love about it, like
there's so much to love about it
because they're such good comedy writers. Yeah. So there are all these really funny moments where you're like laughing out loud, especially at the vineyards.
Oh my God,
the vineyards. I mean, the vineyard scenes are so. I don't even want to tell anyone in case you haven't seen it yet. And you're listening to this. Because they are so funny.
They're so funny.
And just when you get a chance to, like, I think I have to say my most favorite scene, if you have one, is Emily and Maya in the hot tub.
Oh my God, and they're talking about Prince?
And they're talking about Prince.
It's amazing.
Anyone who knows, because you get to know these people, Maya Rudolph is obsessed with Prince. She has a Prince cover band.
Yeah.
I mean, just the fact that the line that, so Jenny says is, you know how when Prince threw his guitar in the air and the guitar tech was always there to catch it? I'm your guitar tech.
I know. It was so lovely. It was so lovely.
So lovely.
Yeah.
It was so great.
Yeah.
And I know, like, one of the other great things right now is we have so many weird shows out there, so you can watch all of these people plugging this movie.
Yeah.
So I was watching, Watch What Happens Live, and Andy Cohen's late night show, and you can always find those scenes. And Emily was there, Paula, Anna, and Rachel were all
amazing.
On. And it was so much. I'm sure Andy didn't even want them to go because he was having such a fantastic time. But so Paula brought up the fact that her and Emily had auditioned originally as actors.
Yeah, for SNL.
And when you're offered the job to be the writer, you're fine.
Yeah.
Like, they were fine with that. So it was Rachel was saying that they knew them as actors too, but now it's fun for the rest of us. And I've seen Paula Pell actually in quite a few things.
I've seen her. I did not realize that she had played Ron Swanson's mom on Parks and Rec. That was.
But see, like,
that was amazing.
They're not even that far apart in age.
No, of course,
I know, and she's fine with that too.
Yeah.
But it's funny what the roles.
But just also just like thinking about, like, so I feel like this movie for Paula Pell is not exactly, but it's like akin to what Bridesmaids did for Melissa McCarthy, like in terms of making a space. And I will say, actually, for this whole film, we see so many diverse bodies, like in terms of shape.
It was
not a lot of. There was not a lot of like
weird.
Racial diversity.
I felt like there was something wrong because everyone looked normal.
Well, that's the thing.
And
it
was so.
There's so much body diversity and shape diversity, and it was really thrilling to not have anyone be complaining about their weight or talking about their weight.
This is the first time you're right. I just didn't notice
nothing.
That. Yeah, there was
nothing.
Yeah.
And Paula Pell talks about this. You sent me that article, the Vulture article, and then I read it. It was great. And she's talking about how, like, ages ago, she pitched a TV show, like 6 episodes about one fat sister and one formerly fat sister. And just in terms of representation on television, like up until the last like 5 years or so, she's just really never seen her body on, like in any way on screen. And that's, and that includes SNL because they've had fat men on SNL, but they've never had fat women on SNL. You're right. Yeah. Like at all. And like it just, it's such a really refreshing thing to watch all of these women just bust out. Like literally Paula Pell at one point is just topless dancing in the living room.
Which she has said she did at Rachel Dratch's party. And it's so, the 4 of them, when they were on Andy Cohen, they do this trip all the time. Like, they get together all the time. They still call each other every week after watching Saturday Night Live.
That's so...
And break apart, what did you think of that one? What did you think of that one?
What an amazing... Like, can you imagine doing the postmortem with these women?
All you want to do now is find a way to become friends with them all. Like, I know. And I know. And I'm sure they hear that all the time. And there's nothing they can do. But she also said it's quite a representation of all of them, who they really are.
Yeah. I think that shone through.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think it did too. But I think that was it's not really the right word, but I don't know another word. It's like brave. Because bravery should be really, used in actual feats of daring or your life's at risk or something.
Yeah.
But just for women to put themselves out there.
Yeah.
To say, this is who I am. If Amy Poehler is that organized.
Yeah.
Then that is challenging.
Well, and just like sort of, I thought that it was really interesting because obviously, Amy is going to sell this movie on her name, right? Mm-hmm. Like she is, and so she has to then sort of make her character sort of central to everything that's going on. But you could see, and I'm wondering if this is why one of the reasons that like the film flows so weirdly is like that she's continuing to try and just make so much space for all the other people that she loves.
Yeah.
Like she's really doing her best to like not make it all about her. Mm-hmm. And that actually sort of like works against the film because we don't fully understand who Abby is as like the person who's bringing all these people together and like how and so that gets a little complicated in terms of like the actual success of the movie.
I did enjoy one other thing about Tina Fey too, is that when she was in the bar that she says it's kind of like Sideways, because I think that's going to be the logical film that people compare this to. But now when I compare the two and I think about how insufferable I even at the time thought.
I liked Sideways a lot.
I liked it, and it was a great movie. Yeah. And I know you just probably because of Sandra Oh.
Sandra Oh.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. And Virginia Madsen.
But like I will say mostly Sandra Oh, because that was the first time like I really got to see her in that sort of like big screen girlfriend role and just how great she was.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to say it wasn't a good movie. No. It's just that honestly, at a certain point, I wanted to hit him so bad, and I know also that was the point of the movie.
Yeah,
and apparently it actually did quite hurt the sales of Merlot for a long time.
I can see that. Yeah.
Whereas
or was it Pinot Noir that he hated?
Was it Pinot Noir or Merlot?
I
thought it was Merlot.
I don't remember. It doesn't really matter. Anyway.
It doesn't.
But like I will say, like this is the opposite of that because I do agree with them. Like I found it really funny how awful they were to all the different people that they don't want to learn about wine. They're just there to drink. And I feel that way too.
When they came out of the store with those glasses shaped like wine glasses, I mean, I was laughing very hard. Like, they don't. Yeah. And when, we said we weren't going to say anything, but when Liz Kakowski as the Uptight Organic Vineyard owner.
Oh my God.
When they're having the wine poured for them, and she's saying things like, so all of this wine is made from solar power. Do you know how many kilowatts? No. Why don't you just tell us? Right? 50?
And they're so rude. Like it's just
And organic is why you find sediment to the. I know they're so rude. They're so rude. And I was enjoying that so much.
I know, it's so fun. Your favorite character was, or your favorite actor was Emily Spivey?
She made me laugh probably. I don't know what it was about her.
Because it's an interesting character though, because she's the one who's like doesn't want to go, and she kind of just wants to be back at home, and
which I think is a bit like me.
I was gonna say, like, I can see you just being like, I'm not sure about this, and like just being like, I might come. We'll see.
It's always hard for me. Like once I'm at a place, I'm okay, which I felt like her too.
Yeah.
Like okay, all right, this is good, but if you just say I had to stay at home for a whole weekend and not go out at all,
you'd be so happy.
So happy. So yeah, I really like. But I really also I felt like Paula Pell got the most interesting character.
Well, she gets the love interest or the potential love interest. She also she just bounces off that screen. Like, there is something so refreshing and so wonderful about her character. Like, and I think that's actually probably who she is as a person. Because, like,
I know.
I've heard people, and specifically I've heard, like, Amy and Tina go on and on and on about Paula.
Yes.
For so long.
That she's the funniest person they know.
She's so great. They love her so much.
I know.
And so it makes a lot of sense to me that, like, you know, this would be like a vehicle to break her out as well.
Well, and maybe you're right. Maybe that was a thought that they had, that this we can. But then maybe that's what also was like with knowing that about Paula and Emily. Both of them are actors that haven't had that chance. So maybe there was an opportunity to, because I feel like I love Maya Rudolph so much, and I feel like. She knows that everyone knows what she's capable of doing, and she really kind of toned it down.
She did. I think, like, I mean, I feel
we only had a couple of her singing, and
but oh my God, when she's in the bar and she falls off the back of the piano
to do an Eternal Flame,
genius. Let's talk about the music in this movie. Can we talk about the music in this movie?
Yeah.
So did you find it too much?
No. I didn't at all, because I think that it would be how you would reminisce together as the songs that you enjoyed because people are very nostalgic about music.
Absolutely.
And so we know this is a group of women that met working in this pizza place in Chicago, and those songs, because you could imagine when they were working that these songs would come on, and that was the thing that would tie them together. But you didn't enjoy the songs that they were playing?
No, I loved most of them. I thought it was great. But I thought it was very, it felt too prescriptive almost to be, it felt clunky.
But that scene where she's going through Emily again is going through what music they can play?
Yeah. I mean, great.
So funny.
So smart. But like, it felt clunky to like have them like, get into the car and then like you choose your guilty jam or whatever, and it just
your DUI.
Like doing it again, and like it's
that you're right.
It's the kind of thing that it's better in theory than in execution.
I think, let's be honest, Amy would have put together a playlist.
Well, yes. I mean, her character absolutely
she
would already
have
handed
him her phone and said to Devin.
Yeah, Devin.
Who was very funny in this.
Like, so...
Jason Schwartzman.
I want to give a couple props to, like, all the supporting characters, because, so Tina Fey's character, I don't really care about that much, but she has a couple of line readings where I honestly just about died. Like, when she's talking about the bees. She plays
the caretaker of this.
She plays the caretaker of the
house
home.
They're renting.
Yeah, and she has, like, 5 homes. But she rents out all these 5 homes, and she's very like stoic, and she doesn't like people. And I really thought that her and Anna were going to end up in a relationship. Like, I thought like there was a queer reading to that relationship that I thought was going to happen, but it didn't, or at least not that we saw on screen. But when she talks about the bees and how I actually wrote down the sentence because I was like, oh, I'm going to die. This is the funniest thing I've ever heard.
At the end of the bees?
No, in the beginning it was bee stings.
Oh,
and she
bee stings.
You get an immunity to it, and then almost a pleasure. Yeah. I laughed so hard. I did not do that justice at all. If this is a movie that you don't think is for you, like,
but I was already laughing too hard when
reading.
They're like, "You're a beekeeper." She said, "Yeah, for honey," and she went, "No."
I know.
And then left that hanging.
That's it. And
they're all like, "What else do you do with like bees?"
Yeah. No, I know.
And then you're right.
Oh my God, the immunity to it, and then a pleasure. about bee stings, I really almost fell over.
Yeah.
And then when Devin and Amy Poehler hook up.
Yeah, and that was another nice kind of refreshing thing, too, because as much as they chose to do some odd millennial bashing, but just having Jason Schwartzman as this kid, no, he's a man.
He's
a full man. He's probably like close to 40 or something.
Yeah, I think he's around 40, yeah.
Yeah, so his character he wasn't like, you're all old women or something. No, he sees these vibrant group of women that he can probably have a lot of fun with.
Yeah.
And also is just this odd kind of very emotional sort of person. And where they found that pan for the paella. And he kept saying another 6 hours. like those little bits of surreal things also made me laugh. And I think that's what is hard, like that review you read. Yeah. There are so many great moments, and then there are these
the inspired
things.
lunacy, I think is what she called it.
Yeah.
The other thing that Cherry Jones doing the tarot reading. Oh my God. That tarot reading was incredible. Like I honestly, it was so wonderful, and she was so mean, and she's like she's the person who introduces sort of that very stereotypical, like, this is all going to crash and burn. Yeah. You're all lying to each other and you guys aren't friends.
Yeah.
And they hear this and they know that they're keeping secrets to a certain extent from each other because, like, people are complicated and they find it hard sometimes to, be vulnerable in all the ways that we sometimes need to be vulnerable. But, like, I don't think any of us have any doubt that these, like, once you've done, like, I think 20 years for friendship, I think it's more like 30 years of friendship.
Yeah.
Like, this feels to me like 30 years of friendship and you are ride or die.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's just the way it is.
Yeah. No, and that was a very funny scene. Setting up all of those things, and all, it's just like, also, you just for a throwaway scene, you choose her, like, she's amazing.
I know. Just
the outfit, that skirt and the t-shirt, it was so spot on.
Mm-hmm.
Like that whole thing, that whole scene was perfect.
And then when, like, Amy Poehler's character gets mad that the other one tipped her after she, like, already
I could tip whoever I want. I mean, I thought there were those little things. And it's funny because I travel. I have the friend I mentioned, I have in Spain that we go on trips all the time.
Yeah.
And we travel really well together. Like, that's why we continue to do it. If we didn't, we wouldn't. We always average maybe like one fight over a week.
That's pretty good.
I think it's really good. But part of it is that knowing each other. So, like, when my last trip to Mexico, we couldn't get any money. And the ATM was broken.
Oh, no.
And my friend who travels more and is not an anxious person at all was like, well, we'll figure it out. And then I got all, what? Is someone going to come and save you? Is that what you're thinking? Yeah, turned into that. And she's like, and then she said, no, it's just that we're going to be fine. And I know I'll help you through your anxiety. I'm like, I don't need you to say that word to me. And meanwhile, in your head, you're just like, of course, because you're a really anxious person, Lisa. And in fact, you've had treatment for it and medication. So it's fair that your friend is sympathetic to your actual problem.
But in that moment, you don't need her to name it.
No, I did not need her to name it. Exactly that.
Yeah.
And then I didn't need to get personal on her own ways of dealing with things.
Oh, good. That sounds healthy.
Yeah, and then... But I think what makes it all worthwhile is at the end of the day, you really don't have to do the big apology.
And I really was grateful that they skipped that in this.
Me too. And I thought about that a lot. You don't need it. As you said, ride or die. This is going to work out. Nothing is ever going to be so big that we would not be these friends.
Yeah.
And the fact is that we can that our being together this much and knowing each other that well is the thing that caused the fight and is the thing that saves your friendship at the same time.
Exactly. Like, honestly, I love the fact that, like, they all hate Rachel Dratch's husband, Brian.
Yeah, but no one will say anything.
Yeah. Because it is an awkward thing to say to your
And it's not helpful.
It's not helpful.
It's not helpful.
It's not helpful at all. But it's a wonderful thing to have this woman hurt her back, spend her night all alone on the floor.
Communing with a raccoon.
Communing with the raccoons. I love that we don't see it. I love that we just hear about it.
On the
glass.
Oh
my God. It's so great. And just the fact that, like, they they allude to it, they talk about it, and then that surreal thing of like putting her in the chair to be able to like take her to go and whatever it is that she's got to do. And then they have the big fight, I guess, after that. Yeah. It's like the second big fight.
Yeah. The roll down a hill.
And then the rolling down the hill to like fix everything. Great.
But I also say I really took away one life lesson, which I think is really important, that if someone says, "Can I just say something?"
That is flawless advice.
It is.
Can I just say something? Yeah. Agreed.
It's not going to be good. Nothing good is coming.
Nope.
Nothing.
No, I completely 100% agree.
Do not need it said.
Yeah.
At all. And in fact, if it was really that important, you wouldn't need to preface it with that.
Well, I think that a lot of people think that is asking permission for whatever is going to come
Right, you're
next.
right, because it's a question. You're
right.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh, well, it's checking in with someone to see if they're emotionally ready to have that conversation.
And it's not even a thing.
But that's the thing. You don't know what you're setting up for.
You don't know what you're saying yes to. Can I just say something?
Yeah.
No.
It depends.
No.
Well, and that's, how like people always are like, I find this happens a lot when like on Facebook where someone is like, content warning. And then they'll like, and that's nice. I like to have a content warning for whatever's happening. And then they like leave a lot of space and then they go into it. But then if you have decided that you are going to opt out because this content warning has given you the information that you need to decide if you're emotionally ready to read about like some horrific thing.
Yeah.
And you have decided for your own sanity and for your own like a sense of security that you are going to sit this one out. And then people like your friend gets mad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, well, you didn't even interact with that. I was like, yes.
I didn't read
because
it.
I didn't read it because I can't.
Yeah.
Like, I literally physically could not at that moment. You cannot, like, give content warnings and then not actually honor them. Like, it's just, and this is what that question is. Can I just say something? Yeah. Like, you have to be open to hearing, no.
It's like that high school line, no offense, but don't.
No offense, but is brutal.
No, I'm completely going to take offense.
I am 100% going to take offense.
I am, because you had to start with no offense, but.
Uh-huh.
No offense, but.
Yeah.
There's no other way to do it except for tilting your head to the side, too, and hitting, no offense, but.
Uh-huh. No, it's brutal.
Yeah.
It's really brutal. So, like, because I don't want to think about this, but, like, is Amy Poehler just not good at directing? I mean, even if she isn't good at directing, she gets like at least another 15 films to prove that because men get all the chances.
We don't know what went into this. We don't know how many other people were helping out or what her vision was or any of those things. I don't know. And everyone has a different idea of what they want for a director.
Yeah.
Right? Of the kind of story, the way they want it told. So I think you need at least 2 or 3 films to make that call, don't you?
I think so too. No, and I would give someone like probably,
I would hate for someone to like judge everything about me on the first
God, on
thing.
your first try? So brutal.
Yeah.
No, I would like want like 5. Basically.
In fact, I would just say mostly this movie is a triumph.
There's so many moments in this that are so great. It's overwhelmingly a more positive experience than a negative one.
Yes.
I also love to spend a bit of time, because I do this just generally, thinking about when I watched Golden Girls as a child. And the age that those women were from the first episode. They were conservatively 55.
Yeah.
Like that was...
Yeah.
So Golden Girls are 5 years older than the women in this movie.
Yeah.
And I love Golden Girls so much.
But now does it make you feel like I do too, but I wonder like what were we doing with Golden Girls?
Oh, I think there was definitely an element of selling out
because Maude preceded that and was like, I mean, I don't know why, just that both of them were in it, Rue McClellan and B. Arthur. But they were just such dynamic characters. Again, Norman Lear though, right?
Yeah.
Who I don't think he had anything to do with Golden Girls.
No. But I think Golden Girls is like really dynamic characters.
They are, but
I think they're sending up old age, which is the difference.
Constantly pointing out those age things.
They were, but they were constantly also like refuting them.
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
That's like
true.
they were. It was never something that was like, oh yes, I am an old person, so therefore I have nothing to offer.
Yeah.
It was constantly like, I have so much to offer.
Yeah, she brought home Burt Reynolds.
Oh my God. Yeah. This is not like no-go zone down there. Like this is like, these are like sexually active women who are completely having full lives.
Sometimes careers. I think it's just it was bad 80s fashion too. So everyone looked a bit lumpy and pastel covered.
I have to have you take that back. Those muumuus were great. Every fashion choice on the Golden Girls was flawless. And I will not have you say that.
Yeah. Okay. We'll go with the muumuu. I mean, I'm a fan of a muumuu. I'm like, honestly, there was a. The Real Housewives always take a trip somewhere, and when they all went to Dubai, they decided to get those big. But they didn't. I don't know what they even called them then. They were like these big
caftans.
Caftans. Thank you.
Yep.
And
I love a caftan. I love a muumuu. I love it all.
They had wings. These caftans, right?
The one that
they were like peacock feathers.
The one that I bought a muumuu / caftan in Hawaii. Yeah. When I was there earlier this year.
Yeah.
And the first summer party that I have this summer when we open up the patio. Will be like muumuu themed. Oh. So everyone is going to have to come in their best, like, most floral leisure wear, and I'm so excited.
Yeah, I mean, no, muumuus aren't included. Neither are caftans.
All right.
I just think there are some of the questionable sweaters that we had to see Rose wear.
Rose got some tough breaks wardrobe-wise sometimes, and
we can't really go. Sophia was just. Always in that same twin set with that skirt.
Which was adorable.
Yeah.
Dorothy got a few tough looks as well sometimes. But I mean, that's mostly because like set dressers and stylists don't know how to dress tall women.
Yeah, exactly.
Or like women who have like...
Well, she had a very difficult... person to try and... That's why she wore those caftans
everything
so well
was draped. Everything was draped all the time.
And so she had a sort of... It seemed like they couldn't decide if she had a masculine or feminine energy.
No, and I like that they sort of like did this like compromise of both.
Yeah.
Where they're just like, okay, well, she looks like she could ride a horse at any time.
Yeah, but sometimes she looked like she was in drag.
Exactly.
And that was a bit of a problem.
I mean, I liked it. I thought it was great.
No, but in terms of...
But like B. Arthur, like that's entirely like what her whole, like the sort of like her whole personal life was just very...
I just feel like now, because we went through after One Day at a Time was canceled.
Yeah.
And knowing that Norman Lear, like that was his idea.
Yeah.
I mean, the original, and to bring it back and to do all of these things and to think he created Maude.
Yeah.
And when like occasionally you can find an episode on YouTube. I think that's one we should do because
I have a DVD set
of
the first season of Maude.
Yeah.
And we tried and I don't have a DVD player anymore, but when I got this originally, we tried to watch it and I wasn't prepared for how dark it was.
Oh. Yeah.
So I had to stop.
Yeah.
I
know. I remember the episode. I remember that she had an abortion.
Yeah. I mean that I was interested in, but but in general, like it was a dark show, and for whatever my space was at the time, that I couldn't really handle it.
Mm-hmm. Were you expecting Golden Girls?
No, I think I was expecting something that just had a little bit more levity.
Because All in the Family is very dark.
Yeah, I guess
it's called a comedy, but I feel like you could put that in quotation
And that's the thing. All in the Family, I just always never had patience for that show. I am like the kid who was like 4 years old and being like, racism is terrible. You know, I didn't have patience for Archie Bunker. I didn't find him funny. It irritated me. I called my paternal grandpa Archie Bunker in both a loving and not so loving way.
Yeah.
And he really did end up like becoming a much more, he was a gruff, scary old man when I was little. And then he got way chiller and way more accepting and way more sort of like, really, he became a much different man when I got older.
How old do you figure Archie and Edith were meant to be?
Archie and Edith, I think, were supposed to be like
their 40s?
I think they were supposed to be in like their early 50s.
Do you?
Yeah, because
Gloria was
like
25
right? Or something maybe, and Meathead was however old he was, and yeah, I don't know exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, also just the way that whole show ended up treating Gene Stapleton, I had no patience for that either. Yeah. But anyways, we digress.
A lot.
I love a show about female friendship, and Wine Country is such a wonderful celebration and like a glorious
and it's funny
sort of like
and
I just think it's so great, and also just not a good movie, but everything about it is really great that's in it. It's a really complicated one for me, but I'm definitely going to return to it.
Agree with everything you're saying.
Yeah.
Sorry to be not arguing about anything. If
we
want to hear some
argue.
argument, listen to the Philadelphia story. Pops just like a wine cork pops. And Napa.
Absolutely, it pops. Yeah, I love it. Except for the fact that it's a terrible movie, but like it's a great movie at the same time.
You watch it and you'll find out what we're saying makes sense.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. I mean, does every joke work? No. Some of the jokes really terrible.
Yeah.
I didn't really like the way that they sort of just dismissed Lauryn Hill as crazy. Not cool. Not cool, folks.
Yeah.
Other jokes? Brilliant.
Yeah.
So brilliant. Love it so much.
Yep.
We love to leave our shows on something we recommend. Would you like to go first?
Sure. So on the discussion of darkness, I just read this novel by Otessa Moshfegh. It's called My Year of Rest and Relaxation. Now, you may have seen this novel. It sort of seems to have kind of a cover of, I guess you'd say, sort of like almost like a Jane Austen type woman painting. And then it says My Year of Rest and Relaxation. So you think, oh, this will be sort of fun. It's an intense, hard read about a woman who is 25. It is the year 2000. And she, for all kinds of personal reasons, has just decided to get herself a dodgy therapist who will prescribe her unbelievable amounts of pharmaceuticals.
Okay.
And try and sleep for an entire year.
Oh, wow. That does sound like a hard read.
It's a very hard read. Really great read.
Yeah.
And we know she's in Manhattan. The dates are getting closer to 2001.
Yep.
So we sort of know that's there, too.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is unbelievable. It's quite a triumph. I don't know if they'll ever try to make it into a movie. I'll probably see it and then regret it because it'll be
as long as you've got a plan.
Sad. But I'm recommending it highly.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. I'm going to recommend a new record by the lovely and talented Jen Grant.
Oh, yeah.
So great. Her new record is called Love Inevitable. And it's a really, really gorgeous record. It was made with Tucker Martin at his studio in Portland. Tucker Martin has produced tons and tons of different records. And I really, recorded tons and tons of different records. Daniel Ledwell, Jen Grant's husband, is also a producer, and he's involved obviously heavily in the record as well. He also plays in her band. They've just had a baby. There's a lot of reflection going on in this album. Her last album was about the death of her mom, and then she just had a baby, just in the sort of grieving process after that and everything she went through to get pregnant and carry this baby to term. Anyways, it's really lovely, beautiful record, lots of stuff going on in it, a lot of sort of deep listening, and also just spending time with people you love.
And only recently, about the last year or two, I found out that it's Jen Grant that sings the theme song to Heartland.
Oh.
The CBC long-running.
Yeah.
I don't know, is it farmer,
it's a ranch,
Alberta
I think
ranch
it's a ranch family. Yeah.
That's Jen Grant.
Oh, that's nice.
So let's hope that that's a good check every few days or whatever.
You deserve that, Jen.
Yes, you do.
Also, her baby Gus is super adorable.
Oh, well.
And
what a cute name.
Oh
Gus.
my God, I met him when he was very tiny, very fresh. Super fresh.
Yeah.
Just because we ran into each other at the Folk Alliance International Conference in Montreal, and they're coming on tour. They're going to be here in Vancouver May 25th.
Yeah.
I don't know if this will have aired before or after. I think it's before, but they're going to take the baby on tour as well. So
Aww,
I know. So nice.
So nice.
Yeah. Anyway. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. You can hang out with us on our social medias. We are on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You could also rate and review us 5 stars.
5 stars.
on iTunes and Stitcher and all that stuff. And you could email us if you like, popthiscollective@gmail.com.
And Pop This is produced by Andrea Gin. We recorded at the Vancouver Public Library. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.